It started with a letter, a simple piece of paper slipped into a mailbox in a quiet Florida town. But this letter was no ordinary note. It was a threat, a warning, a challenge. The Homeowners Association, better known as the HOA, had just declared war over chickens. They thought they had the power. They thought fines, rules, and community bylaws would be enough to scare one man into submission. But what they didn't realize, the man they were targeting wasn't just another homeowner. He was the very lifeline of their town. The town looked like any other American suburb. Neatly trimmed lawns, cookie-cutter houses, and of course, a strict HOA board ready to enforce every little rule. No boats in the driveway. No basketball hoops on the street. Grass must be cut exactly to regulation. And now, no chickens. But for one man, let's call him Marcus, those chickens weren't just noisy birds. They were family. They were food. They were freedom. Marcus had grown up raising animals on his grandfather's farm. Chickens weren't a hobby for him. They were a way of life, a connection to his roots. So when he brought a small coop into his backyard, he wasn't breaking rules in his mind. He was simply living the way he always had. The HOA didn't see it that way. To them, Marcus was a problem. First came the letter. Remove the chickens immediately or face a $100 daily fine. Marcus ignored it. Then came another. Failure to comply will result in legal action. Still, he stood firm. The HOA board gathered, shaking their heads, convinced they had the upper hand. After all, who could stand against the power of fines, liens, and legal threats? Asterisk. But Marcus wasn't panicking, because he knew something the HOA didn't. Something that would flip the entire situation upside down. Neighbors began to whisper. Some sided with the HOA. They worried the chickens would bring noise, smell, or lower property values. Others quietly supported Marcus. They saw him as a hard-working man who wasn't hurting anyone. At the local diner, people debated the issue like it was front-page news. Why can't he just follow the rules? One woman said over coffee. Because sometimes the rules are wrong, another replied. The town was split, but no one knew the full truth yet. The night of the HOA's big vote came. Board members gathered, papers stacked, ready to escalate their fines against Marcus. One member smirked, saying, "He'll give in eventually. They always do." But just before the final motion, a neighbor stood up and cleared his throat. "You all do realize," he said slowly, "that Marcus is the owner of the feed and supply store, the only one in this entire county." Silence. The HOA members froze. Suddenly it clicked. The chicken feed for their pets? Bought at Marcus's store. The soil for their gardens? Marcus supplied it. Dog food, cat food, tools, fencing, all from Marcus. Without him, their weekends, their hobbies, their homes would grind to a halt. Panic set in. The HOA, once so confident, realized they had no leverage at all. If they pushed Marcus, he could simply refuse service. Sure, they could drive 2 towns over for supplies, but at double the price and half the convenience. Marcus had never flaunted his position. He was humble, quiet, respectful. But now, everyone saw his true strength. One board member whispered, "We can't afford to fight him." Another snapped back, "If we let this slide, what's the point of the HOA at all?" The debate grew heated. Voices rose. Papers slammed against the table. But deep down, they all knew the truth. They had already lost. The final decision came not with thunder, but with silence. The fines? Dropped. The threats? Forgotten. The chickens? Still clucking happily in Marcus's backyard. The HOA didn't issue an apology. They didn't admit defeat. But their retreat said it all. Marcus had won. Not by yelling, not by fighting, but by standing firm, calm, and confident in who he was. The same chickens they tried to ban became a symbol of his quiet victory. And the HOA left red-faced, embarrassed, and exposed as powerless. Asterisk. The lesson was clear. Sometimes the people you underestimate the most, the ones you think are powerless, hold more influence than you'll ever know. The HOA believed they could bully Marcus with rules and fines. But Marcus had something stronger, respect, community, and the lifeline of the entire town. And that, in the end, was power they could never take away. So the chicken stayed. The neighbors kept shopping at his store. And the HOA, they learned a hard truth. Authority means nothing when it stands against the backbone of the community. What do you think? Was the HOA right to try and enforce the rules? Or did they go too far? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love stories like this, real stories that reveal what happens when power and justice collide, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Because this is just the beginning.